Hello, everybody. We should be starting in a few minutes. So please invite your folks up. This is a very important topic today. Very, very important topic. We won't spend too much time in this space. The plan is to spend maybe just 2 hours at the most. Because it's a Sunday. I know we had a very big discussion yesterday. So just 2 hours. That's what we plan to spend here. If you want to speak, please raise up your hand early so I can start to bring you up into the speaker, because there's not going to be too many opportunity to speak as much. So I have here with me with Mr. Felix Amos. Mr. Felix, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ máa unmute speaker yín, ẹ máa rí bí microphone kan ní ibẹ̀ yẹn tí ó tẹ́lẹ̀ unmute láti sọ̀rọ̀. Can you please do that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Not as loud.
Is it really loud?
But it's not very loud.
Let me see what I can do with the speaker. Or the mic, rather.
It's not very loud, though. Not very loud.
Not better yet.
Can people hear him very well? If you can hear him very well, please, thumbs up. Okay, once upon one go loud that a lot of Misha. So we are going to start in the name of Olodumare. Today we will be talking about the farmer issues with the herders, predominantly the Fulani herdsmen. As far as we know, the Fulani are the people doing cattle rearing business. We don't know of other ethnic groups in Nigeria that are doing that business. So we will mention them as Fulani herdsmen, and they are killing, incessant killing in the Yoruba land is where we are focused today, and also in the Middle Belt as well. As you all know, this week, in the last few days, actually, last week, was a killing sensation for them in Ondo State. They killed a young farmer of 18 years old. They also killed another farmer, I think maybe he was in his 30s as well, that they killed also a few days ago. And this led to a lot of women in the community. They came out, they tied their wrapper, they came out to protest. But the issue is that for how long are we going to continue to pretend that tying wrapper around his chest, coming out and protesting will stop people that are terrorists from killing in the land? Also, the people in charge that actually has power. We are talking about women, old women, that they don't even have any means of defending themselves. They had to come out to protest about the senseless killing of that young man that was killed in Ondo recently. And as the story had it, the guy his farm was decimated by the cattle. The Fulani were made to pay some retribution for destroying his farm. And the next day, after they paid whatever they were supposed to pay, they went to the farm and hacked him to death. So this has been the many stories that people have been complaining about. Not to even talk about the people whose farm were just, decimated. Um, People who planted things and their harvest was taken by the cattle rearers. So many different scenarios. The middle belt, I can't even touch. You have to hear it from the middle belt people. So many atrocities has been committed in their region, enough to be described as an act of genocide. And usually we don't hear any action from the government. We will see that some people will say, "Oh, the cattle rearers, excuse me, cannot be. They cannot arrest them. They when they arrest them, they actually release them." These are what people are saying in the community. It's got to the point.
I think I've lost her voice. Can people hear her? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I got my phone restarted itself, which is very unfortunate because I want to use that phone and not this one because I'll be getting an important call very soon. But it's okay. Uh Maybe I will try again to reconnect in the other one. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. But I'm not
Okay.
sure of others. Let's be sure others
Um
can.
I think they can hear me too. Okay, so we're going to try today. Hopefully, this phone will not let us down. If we do get disconnected, we will reconnect. Like I said, we plan to spend just about 2 hours. So I'm just laying background to some of the things that has been happening, and this is not about racial profiling. This is about stating the facts of what has been going on in Nigeria and the lack of action from the people that were put in charge of assuring the security of the land. So many of you, you've heard about these cases. I don't even need to repeat them for you. Unfortunately, I don't know how to tag. I would have been putting all the news here, put up all the news here for you guys to see, especially in the last week. It's just series of attack, and even this morning, the Osun State farm. This is the government-owned farm was attacked by the Fulani herders. And they went to the farm and decimate the plants and everything there. So the question is, are we as Yoruba, are we stakeholder in this country? And the people of the Middle Belt too that are getting killed, are we stakeholders in Nigeria? Do we have any rights to demand protection? And if that is true, then why is it that nobody has been prosecuted for the killing of the farmers that were slain in cold blood on their farm? All because they were trying to make ends meet for themselves and their family. We hear like in the last few, before they did whatever they did, maybe import food or whatever that allowed the market to thrive a little bit, people were hungry, not because people doesn't have money alone, but largely because there was no products, there was no farm products available. And the reason why there was all of these products were not available was because the farmers are getting killed in the farm. So I'm going to stop here. I will allow Mr. Felix Amos to introduce himself and take us through some of these, and we will see where our governors, we should be pointing the fingers at them. So I'm just going to leave it here. So, Mr. Felix, please go on. And if you have any other member of your group let me know so I can bring them up to the stage to speak.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me? Am I loud?
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Okay, so thank you. This is more or less an impromptu invitation. So hopefully we will have more time to get most of our colleagues involved in the conversation. But if anyone comes around anytime, I will let you know. So I want to thank everyone in this discussion today. We appreciate your time, and I'm also privileged to speak on this topic to our colleagues and friends all over the world. So this is a very serious one. I will call it a tragedy. And it is not only in the present time, it is also destroying the future in a way. But unfortunately, there is that limited understanding of the scope and the extent of this destruction associated with open grazing, because that is the what we can say the practice that is at the root cause of this evil. So, about 2 or 3 years ago, we came up with a project. We call it Campaign for Effective Ban of Open Grazing. So, what we were trying to see is that how we can ensure that open grazing is banned not only in Yoruba land but in the Middle Belt and other parts of southern Nigeria. And also, we realized that the ban of open grazing cannot be effective without state securities. So, state needs to have secure, because these things started during the Muhammadu Buhari administration. So, we cannot guarantee that the federal government will enforce the ban of open grazing. So, we are relying on states to lead in putting an end to this practice. So I'm just giving a sort of background to the project of Seaborg and Cephas. So if open grazing is banned by the House of Assemblies across the state, and which we agree that, we actually established that the state have the capacity to put an end to open grazing, because the lands in the state, based on the Land Use Act in Nigeria, belongs to is managed by the state government as well as the community leaders across the local governments. So it's an asset of the people and the state government in each of the states. The land that is directly controlled by federal government is basically the federal capital and other lands that they acquire across the states, which are very just limited. So we now talked about the need that states supposed to have a sort of a security kind of outfit to enforce the law. Unfortunately, the idea of Amatekun came, which we all supported, and we look forward to see how Amatekun can really fill in and be able to perform that function in conjunction with vigilantes across the local governments. So that is where we now added a second project, which we call Cephas. So Cephas is campaign for equipment and funding for all state securities. So we believe that if the state securities like Amotekuns and the Igbos were trying to do a Bube Agu or something like that, if those outfits were funded and equipped, they can actually implement this ban of open grazing. So those are the two projects that we still have before us today, Seaborg and Cephas. So what I will do now, if I'm permitted, is to run us through the danger of open grazing so that we can set the foundation for this. Then after that, we look at the law and we also look at the challenges and how we can move forward. What can we do? How can we overcome this? So it is important to remind us the danger associated with this practice. I can just talk about 4 areas where open grazing has been very, very destructive to the life of our people and also to the future. So the first one is we know life is precious. As our sister has just said, recently about 2 persons were killed in Ondo State just last week. 2 persons were murdered in their farm, and it's associated to open grazing activities. The herders invaded their farm, and they engaged the herders with the communities, and they have to pay compensation. And the next day, the person went to the farm and was murdered by ran away. We don't know whether they've arrested them now or not. So the first thing is the life of the farmers and the communities. Several communities have been destroyed across the Middle Belt and South as a result of this open grazing. So anybody that wants this practice to continue, okay, can be accused of genocide, because thousands of people have been killed. When the herders, when they invade farm, they want to eat the crops or the wheat or whatever available for them as grass and farm produce. And these are the assets of the farmer. That's what the farmer is living on. That is what sustains the farmer. So definitely conflict cannot you cannot end conflict between the farmers and herders as long as open grazing practice is allowed. And the herders are usually very well armed, well equipped, and highly organized in a way that the vulnerable farmers, who are mostly peasant farmers, poor people in the villages, will lose their life. So that is the first life of our people. We can see what happened in Igagan. In Ogbomoso, this year alone, about 3 or 4 persons have been killed in Ogbomoso town, in Oyo State. So then, apart from the tragedy of people being killed, community being destroyed, what about the farm products, farm produce, farmland? Because these activities, they go there, they hit the maize, the beans, the yam, the cassava plantations will be destroyed. And we've been shouting about this about 2 or 3 years ago, that what has been sustaining Nigerian economy. We can talk about the money from crude oil and Lagos that the politicians are spending, and also the peasant farmers' activity that are producing food for Nigeria. Many Nigerians, they do not even get anything from the government, but the agricultural activities enable them to eat and to survive. So if the peasant farming or the agricultural activities across the villages, if that practice is destroyed, we already said it, Nigeria will be a mess, and that is what has happened now. Many people cannot access their farm because of the destruction of their product, and the fact that they are most likely going to be killed by herders. So that is the second one. Agricultural activities have been destroyed as a result of this open grazing. The third one, which is very serious, is the fact that we destroy the vegetation, the environment. And this is an area that most people are not talking about. And it's as serious as the destruction of the farm produce. If you look at places like Northwest and Northeast, some of those areas, their landmass have become desert, completely deserted. So open grazing is an unregulated grazing, uncontrolled grazing of farmland and of forest, of grassland, and that leads to desertification. Because what happened is that the Fulani herdsmen are just going about hitting whatever they can find on their way, hitting the grass. You know, even in our traditional practice, our farmer, they know something about bush fallowing. They know about if they cultivated a particular land, they will leave it for some years to recover before they come back to it. So, but as these people migrate from place to place, they are just hitting the crop consistently and the grassland. So eventually they will become deserted. Those grasses will not be able to grow again. Some people were saying, maybe, I think there was a man from Southern Kaduna that was talking about it, that he doesn't know what has been following the Fulani, that whenever they give them a grazing reserve, the place will surely become desert and they will need to move to another place. But the man did not understand the science or the technology behind that. When you look at the kind of practice they were doing, if you want to do ranching, you need to calculate the numbers of cattle you want to put in your ranch based on the size of the ranch. And you need to plan how you want to irrigate the grass, and how you want to regulate your grazing, so that you will not just heat up the grass to a level that the grass will not be able to grow again. And that is exactly what the Fulanis are doing with open grazing. When some of them graze in a particular field this morning, Tomorrow, another group will go there. And when the grass are trying to recover, another one will go there. Eventually, that place will become a desert. That has happened in Igagan. That has happened in Southern Kaduna. And that has turned the major part of Northwest into desert. So I don't understand even why our professionals in the universities are not thinking, because very soon Yoruba land will become desert. The desert will get to Lagos, will get to Badagry. It is just a matter of time. It is unsustainable, it is destructive, and it will get to a time that nobody plant cassava again in Yoruba land. And our land mass is small. Oyo State and Kwara State, they have the biggest land mass, and that is maybe about 20-something thousand square kilometers. Niger State alone is about 73,000 square kilometers. So they have bigger land in the north, but as soon as they continue to practice this open grazing, the land becomes desert. They can't get grass again. They kept on moving down south to the middle belt, and eventually the desert is coming to us. So, and that will lead to war in the future. So that is the third part of it. Then the fourth one that I need to say, which is very serious, is the aspect of terrorism. Nobody will be able to stop terrorism from engulfing the southern part of Nigeria in the nearest future if open grazing is not, if we do not stop it. Because the open grazing, it enables terrorists to infiltrate community. They can always disguise as herders, carry cattle and carry ammunition and penetrate communities. They don't need to be registered in the community. They don't need to be known. And most of the destruction of the farmland took place in the night. So these people can always move in the night, when people have left their farm, and they encircle our communities. They infiltrate our communities. And if you look at the Sahel region in the sub-Saharan Africa, you can see the activities of terrorists around Mali, Guinea, up to Libya, and they kept on migrating, and they have the free room to penetrate our community. That's why you have cases of kidnapping and all of that. So then I think I've mentioned 4 now. Let me add one more before I move to another area. Is the aspect of tuberculosis. Now, I was just looking at the 2023 World Health Organization report on tuberculosis. You will be surprised. There are an estimated 2.5 million people fell ill with TB in Africa in 2021. 500,000 people died to the disease. So what is the major means or media of spreading zoonotic tuberculosis? The one spread through the feces, the discharges from the cattle, the dung from the cattle. They call it zoonotic tuberculosis. So as they move from community to community like that, they are spreading tuberculosis. And already tuberculosis is a pandemic in Africa, and particularly in Nigeria as well. We have the highest burden in the world of TB now. So if you want to travel from Nigeria now to go and study in Canada, in US, in UK, you need to go to the hospital and get a certificate that you do not have tuberculosis or you've treated it. So the economic impact of TB is so devastating. So it's like the way they are checking people for COVID a few years ago. That's the way they need to check us before we leave Nigeria, whether we have TB or not, because they know it's rampant. They know it's all over the place. And nobody cares in Nigeria. Nobody discusses this. And if we do not stop open grazing, we won't be able to stop the spread of this zoonotic tuberculosis. And a lot of people, it doesn't kill immediately, but it destroys our people's ability to function well, ability to walk, and it will eventually kill them. And it's costing them money to be taking antibiotics. Antibiotics itself, our sister knows more about that. What it means when you take a complete dose of antibiotics, the damage it does to your body. And nobody cares. Nobody is talking about this. And they will go to the stream. They will take their cattle there. They at the back of people's house. The person they kill in Ogomaso, they destroy the small family the pastor was doing at the back of his house, and he engaged them. And as he turned back going to his house, they just stab him from the back. So what that means is that at the back of every house in Yoruba land today, the Fulani are carrying cattle all over. And when one man or one person in the family is infected with TB, the probability is there that it will spread in the family. So let us understand. So many people, people should understand why people like us are shouting and crying. It is not that we want to confront the Fulani, we want to fight a particular tribe. No, this thing is a tragedy to everybody. It is not going to do anybody any good. So I'm appealing to our people. How do we come together to confront this evil? So there are other points that I don't just want to go into, but let's just limit it to that 5 points. It's terrible enough. So now I don't know if I can listen if there are questions before I jump into another thing.
Yes.
Hello.
Any questions from the people that come up that wanted to speak? I don't think anybody has a question yet. You can go on, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sister. So what is the way forward? How do we overcome this? I will say the problem with this open grazing and the tragedy is the same problem with the Nigerian society. The problem of bad leadership, bad governance, the structure of Nigeria, and the ignorance of the people. So I can always divide the problem into two. One is from the leaders, one is from the community, the people, particularly educated people. The farmers, because we need to understand what is the statement. So if you say the open grazing is as terrible as this, why is this going on? Why do we tolerate it? Why is it continue? And that we need to understand that so that we now think of how do we want to overcome this obstacle. So we won't put too much pressures on these peasant farmers. They are predominantly illiterate. And it is always very difficult for them to organize themselves. In fact, many of them cannot make statements in the police station. So they are helpless, completely helpless. They do not know how to champion their cause. And nobody cares about them. No, they have no representation in government. If there is any functional government at all in that space. So, but the most unfortunate part of it is that we that are educated, other strategic stakeholders that needs to come together to be able to fight this evil and stop it. We are the people that we should wake up and how do we network and get people to come together and be able to fight this cause on behalf of not just the farmer, because it will eventually affect everybody. Nobody is safe. Once you get infected with TB, you are not safe. Once the farms are destroyed in Okiogun, it will affect how much you are going to buy a tuber of yam in Ibadan. So the cumulative effect of it, the bigger picture is terrible for everybody. So how do we, let's look at the government side. 3 states in Yoruba land, as we know, have enacted law to ban open grazing. And that is as back as 2021. Oyo State did it, and Ogun State also enacted a law, as well as Ondo State. And this is the best thing to do. There's no other way. All the cosmetic approach of peace treaty between farmers and others is the unfortunate thing. It's treacherous. Nobody should ever think of that. It's just like you are saying, peace treaty between an armed robber or a thief and a man in his house. You can't have that treaty. Or somebody has a filling station that sells gasoline that is highly that is combustible or that can easily catch fire and get you have explosion. And another person who is doing some mechanical work that involves sparks or spark plug or fire is saying, I want to come and get some gasoline from your filling station. And in the process of that, is going to set your filling station ablaze. So nobody can talk of any kind of peace treaty. It does not exist. You have to look for a way to do your electrical or mechanical work that can cause sparks away from the filling station so that you don't burn down another man's business. So because we need to talk about that, the farmlands belong to the farmer. That is their asset. That is their property. Nobody can go to a Dangote factory now and say you want to take a used tire because you think Dangote is not using it. You end up in the police station. Nobody can go to a bank premises in Ibadan or in Osogbo today and say you are looking for papers that the bankers are using. You want to use it to sell guguru and Eba. They will arrest you if they see you in the premises of the bank. If you do not have an account in the bank, you are not a customer of the bank, you are not invited, you are not visiting somebody, you can't spend 30 minutes there before they will hand you over to police. Then why are we doing this to our farmers in the farm? Why can't they be secured in their farm? Why can't the society come together and protect these poor farmers? It's horrific. It's unbelievable. So, but the political elite are heartless. I can say that anyway. I will keep on saying that because you have to be a heartless man to allow these herdsmen to go to another man's farm. It is even enough to kill those farmers with hypertension, because when they go to their cassava farm and destroy their farm, the farmer can equally faint just arriving at the farm. So the idea of paying compensation, the idea of peace treaty is evil. It's abominable. Anybody that want to do animal, what do we call it, animal husbandry, you want to rear cattle, you look for land. Keep your cattle within the perimeter of and that is what the law says. The 3 laws that have been enacted are like the 3 states. So now we are not sure if the politicians actually intends to implement those laws. We are not sure.
So before you move on, let me ask a question.
Yes.
So the federal government of Nigeria, they just announced 10,000 agro rangers, okay, that they said will secure. I'm using exactly the word from their flyer. They said these people will secure food security in the northern Nigeria and other places. So can you please enlighten us? The problem of farmer adder crisis, where are we having this problem the most? Is it in the northern part of Nigeria that we're having it? And or is it in the southern part of Nigeria that we're having it? And the second part is 10,000 agro ranger from the federal government, not the state government, the federal government. Is that a measure that is sensible? And I'm glad you already mentioned the kangaroo peace treaty that they went and signed. I'm pretty sure that no real farmer was in that stupid treaty that they said they signed. And some Yoruba people, they carried their gele and agbada and participated in this kangaroo thing. So that you will know that when you are talking about Fulani and all of these things, there are also some of our people that are caused, that are facilitating this terrorism that is going on in the land. So if you can talk about those things, the farmer, the agro rangers, is that a sensible initiative? Is that what we need? The fact that it's also coming from federal government, because I know some of them now, they are in their corner saying, hey, there is agro ranger, there's all of this rubbish. They are talking among themselves. So if you can please expose the hypocrisy in that.
Okay.
And also,
so thank you.
Yeah. So, and also, where is the problem? Is it northern Nigeria that has the problem, or is it southern Nigeria that has this problem?
Okay. So thank you. I will say the degree of this atrocity varies from one part of Nigeria to the other. But sincerely speaking, the worst scenario we are having currently is in the northwest and the middle belt. So that area is much the atrocity is greatest in that part of the country. And if you look at the bandit in the northwest, which is a very serious conflict between the Fulanis and the Hausas, and these are cases where thousands of lives have been lost. You can trace the root cause of this to open grazing, because when it first started a few years ago, the Hausas organized themselves and formed vigilante. I think they call it Yakansai or something like that. It was like our own kind of Amatekun or like a community vigilante, because the Fulanis herders are killing them in their farm and they are not allowing them to get their produce. So they have to organize themselves to confront the herders. And the land that the herders are normally using are shrinking every day, like what I've explained before, because of the desertification effect of open grazing. And there's no way they can go to the farm of these Hausa farmers without destroying their crop and fighting them and killing them. But eventually, certain people might have rose up to also equip the Fulanis to now subjugate the Hausa farmers. They have to ban the vigilantes of the Hausa farmers. They accuse them of extrajudicial killing of the herders that are invading farmland. So that is how all these things metamorphosed into the terrible bandit we have in the Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna today. So it's a very terrible and a bloody war going on in that axis now. So they now maybe change to the idea of solid mineral, this and that. So this thing continue to change and mutate and become more complicated. And it's unbelievable that a Yoruba man will be watching until that is replicated in Osogbo and Ibadan. Because we will get there, it's just a matter of time. So now, if you look at also areas like Benue State, Plateau State, and Southern Kaduna, it has also mutated into another form of a conflict, because now the minorities that occupy that axis, they are predominantly Christian, they are non-Fulanis. And now we are now seeing a case where people are being displaced. And because of the footprint of these herders, because they've been there for so long, cohabiting with the farmers, it becomes now very difficult for the communities to be able to resist their attack. And that is something that is going to happen in Yoruba land. It is already happening in some part of Ondo and Ogun and Ekiti. So that answers the question. The longer the elders stayed in a place, or the number as more as their population increases, this atrocity and brutality will also multiply, and the more it will become impossible for the host community to resist them. Then the other issue about agro rangers by the federal government is similar to the thing idea like what do we call reconciliation, peace treaty. The lands belong to the state government. So the use of agro rangers, we don't know how that is going to help. There have been a lot of initiatives like that has produced no result, because the only way to end this atrocity is to enforce the ban on open grazing. If you look at the land mass in Nigeria, the security, they've not been able to stop kidnapping. They've not been able to protect people. Kidnapping happens now and then in Nigeria. So how are they going to protect all the farmland across the country and be able to monitor each other when they go into people's farm? So, but if that is what the federal government think, I wouldn't want us to bother ourselves so much about it. But we must also remember that the lands, the forest reserves, belongs to the state government and the farmers, the communities, in the rural areas. So that measure, we do not know how it is going to work. And we cannot see anything that really points to the fact that it will be a positive measure embarked on by the government. So the most realistic approach is to stop open grazing completely, so that we are not. That is the preventive measure that really stop the problem before it gets to a point where nobody can curtail it, where we restrict the herders to their ranches. I don't know if that really answered the question before I move to what is the way forward. Hello, are you with me?
Okay, go on. I think that there's a couple of people raising their hands. So
Okay, yeah, I may want to listen. I may want to listen to a question. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take Toba, Mr. Toba Faweku.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And good evening also, Mr. Felix. I appreciate your contribution. And what's my major take on this is that our political class in the Southwest here, they are trying to be politically correct in the sense that they created a security network. But how effective is this security network? Because the issue we should not, it is not, it is absurd that people are asking the organizer of the program to equal the program. It's something that should come along. What is their security vote for? Are they just think that they should just share it? Because part of the issue we are facing is that there is no concerted effort in tackling a particular menace headlong.
Yeah.
And what we are seeing as the result of it in places like Ondo State with the recent killings that we had, or the recent kidnapping in Ekiti State. And we all know security is local. But as far as we fail to do the needful, we will always having the same result time and again. One major issue, I don't know, maybe is as a result of this ECOWAS on the treaty or understanding. Nigeria is too porous. I was sometimes last year, I was at Elisha Baroba in Kwara North. So we went for a program, health program. So one of our help, our work took us to a remote. It was a Fulani settlement. Those people, they are domiciled, they are Fulani, but they have been there for long. They have a settlement there. So we went there, we talked. So in the course of our interaction, I was playing with a small Fulani girl, and I was telling the Baba Mogaji that, Baba, will you allow me to take this girl to Ilorin, that I should marry this girl? Baba say, no problem. See, and I said, Baba, I don't have cow that I will bring. Baba said, no, he doesn't need cow, that he need money. And I said, why? I believe you will prefer cow than money. He said, cow is now a problem for them. And he now told me something. He said, the advent of GSM brought in so many external people, all the way from Niger and all these countries into Nigeria, that they were just calling themselves, oh yeah, come, there is grasses there. The Baba now told me that now they are having problem in their community because of these people who are just moving in unchecked. When you look at history of this violence, you will agree with me that it was the influence of these unchecked migrant herders that created the problem we are having. Because most of the community, especially people who live in Kwara State here, and maybe some part of Ekiti State or Kogi and Niger and Ondo State, especially Ondo North area, they are accustomed with having Fulani settlement that they call Ga. Even some of the Ga, they have become part of the town here in Ilorin. So with these unchecked people and their attitude, their propensity for violence, it has created a problem. But unfortunately for us, our political class here in the Southwest, they are not rising up to the task. Because I don't understand why people will create an outfit and we will now be asking them please fund this outfit, equip this outfit, do this for this outfit. It shouldn't be. This is something that should come
Okay.
alongside establishment.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Toba. I will respond to that. Thanks for that observation. We bring all of them together. So I think score, we've got someone with the name score raising up his hand. So thank you, sir, Mr. Toba. I will respond to that and we brainstorm more on
Yes,
this.
Score, go on. Take just 2 minutes, please, so that you can collect everything together. Like I said, we have very limited time on this space. We don't want to spend 5 hours here. Score, go on. 2 minutes.
Okay. Thank you for the space. My question is that the new ministry that is being proposed by federal government, how will the ministry come in all of these um issues?
You mean
What are
Ministry
the
for Livestock, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a
yes that
very good question.
yeah, so what should we expect? How can they come in all of these issues?
Thank you.
Then my second question is that you mentioned that the southwest state has they've enacted some laws as which banned open grazing, but it's still happening. I want you to help us shed some light. Is it that the law is not has not been passed, or is it that there's a federal government directive that overrule state laws? I don't. We don't- And another, my suggestion is that when cases like this, because I kind of noticed that you said that maybe when they take them to the station, they have nobody, they become liability on the force, and they just have to release them, which they now take advantage and use to commit crime because nobody want to prosecute them. They will have to feed them and others. Like, can there be a speed um prosecution for them, like maybe speed it rather than having to keep them in the station, take them to court, maybe just quickly a speed court that you can just do within some hours or a day or 2 days, get them a representative and prosecute them once and for all, wherever they want to take them to, maybe prison, maybe if they are found culpable, maybe they also be hanged or anything, rather than having to keep them in the station and which is going to become a burden on the force, and they will have to just release them.
Okay.
Can there be that kind of stuff?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Score. We will respond to that. I've noted them.
There's one more.
Hello, sister. Are you taking
There is
over?
two more ants.
Yeah,
Eric
please.
Dan and Caesar Cine. I don't know this name. Let's take Eric Dan. Eric Dan, ask your question 1 to 2 minutes. Then we go to Caesar, and that will be all the questions. Then Mr. Felix can answer.
Thank you. Yes.
Uh, Thank you very much. I want to ask question about the people, the Yorubas that are always throwing the Yoruba people under the carpet when this issue of S-men arise. Because when you complain, they will say it's not S-men, that is Yoruba people that is killing the farmer. So how are we going to deal with these people? And um, I have suggested that we should the farmers should be allowed to protect themselves when this issue comes up. But many people are against it because they feel that the government will come to their aid. And just like a police officer once told me that he cannot leave his house and go and be protecting someone in his house, that he has his family to protect. So when the government fails, I think the people should be able to arise to defend themselves. Thank you very much. That's my submission.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric. We will speak about that quickly. Thanks.
Then the last one,
Then,
Caesar.
Sisi. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My own is just to give an addition to what the second to last speaker have spoken, me, I'm from Borno, and I just want to give a brief snapshot of an antecedent of how this things of Fulani is getting out of hand. So if you look at the trajectory before, issues of Fulani headers used to be just in the north, right? Now, when I mean north, it used to be northeast, majorly just Adamawa, Borno, Yobe, Taraba, and Borno State. But now, if you observe very well, these things has blown out of proportion because now the whole of North Central, that is Benue, Nasarawa, Abuja, Kogi, Jos, Fulani has, let me say, Fulani militia have been a disaster. And one thing that we need to understand is most of those who perpetrated these crimes are those Fulanis who are from Sahel Savannah. Some of them are part of the indigenous Fulani. Some of them come across West African countries like Mali, Niger, Cameroon, Chad. So, as it is right now, most of these crimes that we see being perpetrated by Fulani militia or Fulani headsmen, whatever name we put to them, one thing that we need to understand clearly is there is terrorism being perpetrated by this sort subgroup of Fulanis. And we have, of course, we have insignificant indigenous Fulani from Nigeria who also are part of this terrorism. But the larger part is being perpetrated by people who are even outsiders from Nigeria, but they are still Fulani. So now that is why it is really, really becoming a serious concern. So for me, what I will say, just from my experience, from what I've seen in the north, that is now because now we are not talking about north, we're talking about southwest, right? The Yoruba lands, right? So for me, what I would advise people from the locals, which majorly are these farmers, the indigenous people who stays in these localities, the traditional rulers have to really, really come up with their own ways to save their people and their land. One thing that I can tell you for sure, without any doubt, is that the federal government, the government agencies will do nothing and they cannot do nothing because they are already overstretched by the current insecurity within this country. We know these things. Boko Haram has been there for decades. Now we have bandits who are taking over Northwest, and now nothing is happening. Fulani herdsmen has never been resisted by the Nigerian government in the sense that I don't want to, because of course, I don't want to accuse or point fingers because some of you here could have understand what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people within the security agencies who work with these guys. We have seen how they have dealt with people in Kaduna. We have seen how they are killing people in Jos till date. Nothing is happening. If you go to Benue, you see what they do right now, or let me say for the few months there are communities that completely have been wiped out by these guys in Jos, Nasarawa, Kaduna, Benue. Now, for them to go up to Southwest, it tells you that they have already overrun these other communities. The next thing is for them to start doing what they are doing in these places to those your places you call Yoruba land. I don't want to be specific because I don't want to cause confusion, but what I want to tell you is these guys are doing what they are doing because some people within the state are in support of them. And mostly
Okay.
what they are after is land grabbing and eliminating a whole community. So they will come in a small way, like they will attack, kill, and then they will regroup. When you are there talking about money or people, they will still attack
Okay,
and regroup.
thank you, Tize. Thank you. Your points are taken. Your suggestion are very important that the local people needs to they need to protect themselves. I think that a lot of people they they like that suggestion that you made. So because I wanted to be very time conscious in this space, I'm going to go to Triple A just came up. Triple A,
Yeah.
take a minute
Yeah.
to ask question. We want you to ask question. Okay. Uh ask question for our speaker, Mr. Felix
Even
Emo.
suggestion, but just 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, just a minute is all you have. Can you do that?
Please.
And then we'll let the
Okay.
guest speaker.
Thank you, Uba first. Thank you. I didn't really have a suggestion or question, but I just want to share my experience that I have with this that I know about these Fulani people. You know, sometimes about 2-3 years ago, while I was working in Okeogun area of Oyo State, from Igbo, Kishi, Shaki, Iseyin, all those area. So I have had a contact with them when they kidnap the locals. There's this federal reserve between Igbo to going to Ilorin, so they normally hide in those forests, in those reserves, and they stop all the vehicle coming either from Lagos or from Ilorin to Igbo. So sometimes for days they will declare that people should not go out. So it got a point whereby the locals, what they did was they have to use African Yoruba ways. They have to do some things, and they were captured. And let me be sincere with you, some of these Fulanis are even perpetrated this evil. Some of them, they come from far away, because we have Fulani in that area. We have this Seriki Fulani, and they have Ga all around all these areas, because I have been to almost all the forests in that area. So, and what they do is, when I think during the during the drought like this, during the dry season, that's when we always have this kind of attack, because they normally come from the upper north, and even the Fulani that we have in southwest, some of them are scared of those ones.
Okay, let's move forward. Mr. Felix. Mr.
Yes.
Felix, go on.
Yes.
Go on.
Okay, so thank you. Mr. Adioye, please, you will hold on a while so that let's go through this. We may be able to answer your questions, or we still take your contribution later. So I will go through the observations, the recommendations from the various speakers, and I will try as much as possible to group them together and address some of them that are interrelated. So we've all spoken, and one thing that I will say is a consensus already is the fact that this practice is a tragedy, and the impact, which include, somebody has mentioned some of the a kind of metamorphosis where you see this mutating from just ordinary harm herders to military group. So there is a consensus now that this thing is devastating. But then there were a few areas of suggestions and concern. So let me start from someone has mentioned about the Yorubas that are also betraying the cause of the people. That is, they are compromising, and sometimes they will say it is actually the Yoruba and not the Fulani. We need to understand the fact that there is this drive for survival by people, and we do not have the same integrity. So, or even there are Yorubas now, not only Yoruba and in other communities, that are giving cattle to Fulani now. That is another trend, where people can buy 5 or 10 cattle and give it to the Fulanis to rear for them, and the Fulani will give them a sort of return. So I've said this. That is why I want us to take this thing very, very something that is urgent, very essential, and let us think of what can we do to address this issue before it gets out of hand. The Fisey has told us about how the thing has multiplied in the far north, and the fact that it's now increasing to the south, which is something I've mentioned before. So we should begin to look at the not just the immediate impact, the future impact of this. And people have also talked a lot about the fact that a lot of these killers are actually coming from Mali, the Sahel. So that tells us that the terrorists in Libya, in Morocco, and others, they can, in the nearest future, in Guinea, in Niger Republic, they end up in Ibadan and Lagos, and it just complicates issues beyond our imagination. But the one I want to quickly talk about is the fact that let's assume that the people that are involved in this in the Southwest that are giving cattle to the Fulanis, I want to use that one as an example. Let's assume they are less than 1% of our population. They are elite, they are influential, they are powerful. But now they couldn't stop some of the community to fight back. They couldn't stop a few House of Assembly to enact law to ban open grazing now, because maybe they are just 1%. I'm just using that as an assumption. By the time this practice continue for another 5 or 10 years, more of our elite will also join those 1%, and they may become 10%, 5%. That will also be giving cattle to the Fulani because they want to survive. They are looking for money. People have accused the traditional ruler a lot on this. And if you give them cattle, you can look at that type of business. It's a blood business. Because if you want to have a poultry farm now, you will know what will cost you to feed one chicken in Nigeria. The cost of feeding your poultry is very high. And the same thing, if you want to go into fishery, you want to have a fish farm, you need to be buying this food, and it costs you a lot every week to feed those fishes from the I don't know what they call them again, fingerless, or what do they call them? Before they grow, you'll be calculating the week, and you will be seeing, you'll be looking at how your bill is growing, the amount you are spending to feed them. But this open grazing, these people are rearing cattle, but they don't need to buy grass. They don't need to buy any food for their animal. So it's a bloody business. The source of feed for the animal is the blood of the farmer, is the sweat of the farmer, is the life of the farmer. And in as much as the society allow it, more and more people will join, and the farmers will be displaced. And the issue of land grabbing will come in. So for the Yorubas, there's no doubt what happened in the Loni is also coming if we allow this practice to continue. What has happened to the Hausas in Zamfara and others, we don't really want to go into those details now, but they are going to come. It is the easiest way to have it, because our elite will join hand with them over time, give them cattle, and that gives the opportunity to establish the practice, and farmers will be wiped off. And those our elite themselves will also be wiped off at the right time. So that is some part of the question. Now,
So,
I want to address issue raised by Mr.
let me
Toba.
buttress your point a little bit.
Okay, then I will come back to some of the other outstanding issues. Yeah.
So on the issue of elite participating in cattle rearing, it is true. And people that are saying, oh, the kings are participating, it's not just the kings. There are significant number of our elitist people that are participating in it. And I was on a platform whereby I had a very strong argument with somebody about this. And his analysis to me was focused on the money that they're making from it. And the person was telling me 10 cows or 100 cows, something like that. We give them 1 billion naira in a year. This is the money that is behind the blood that you're seeing. So he got to the extent of saying how cheap it is to do this compared to ranching. Because, of course, they don't want to ranch because they don't want to buy the farm. They don't want to buy the feed for their animals. Despite the fact that they realized that, in fact, it got to the point that, and these are prominent people that are on this platform, they're not just average people. This is why I want to buttress your point on this. These are the who's and who's in the Yoruba society that are there. And this is the belief of some people. I don't say everybody, but some people who that they themselves are invested in this business. They themselves are participating in it because they are looking at the dollar amount. Now, to the others, this is the problem when you make people kings. You make them king. They don't have an oil well. They don't have any means of getting money. Okay? Some of them don't even have a proper job to start with. Then you make them kings. And they want to live the lifestyle of a king, especially very flamboyant lifestyle that we live in the south, in the Yoruba land. How do you think they're going to do it? That is why they compromise. This is part of the reason why some of the king, they give cattle to these herdmen, whether they are local ones that has been in the community or they are foreign ones that just joined the local herds. And they don't even pay them. They just give them the cattle because they get paid in cattle. So some of these cattle that you see that are roaming around, when you see 100 herds, The reason why there is 100 is because 50 of that belongs to your chiefs and your who's and who's in the community. Once that person already got 50, you cannot stop the person that is rearing the cattle from adding additional 50 to the herd. And let me even shock you. The belief of some of these myopic people is that it is the farmer that are encroaching on the land that cattle are grazing, that it is not the cattle that are encroaching. So the question is, we should ask ourselves, could this be part of the reason why the governors are not enforcing the law in Oyo State and in Ogun State? Is it because they are in court with some of these so-called people that call themselves elites or stakeholders or kings or whatever? Because they believe that you are encroaching on the land. As a result of that, if the cattleman kill you, the cattleman can kill you because you are the one encroaching. And when these people are confronted to prove to us when Yoruba land was ever a cattle grazing land, they have nothing to say. They will just run away and hide. But I just want you to know, they look at the profits, which is not profit, which is blood money, like Mr. Felix said. And I use the word blood money as well in my conversation with that person. That whatever profit you are getting, it is not, you are not different from somebody that is taking the edge of the dead from the grave. That's because that's exactly what it is. You are thinking about 10 cattle, 20 cattle, you are thinking about 1 billion you will collect at the end of the year. But you don't care. You didn't buy a single A for that animal. But you are saying that you are getting profit. How is that profit? If not murdering people. And another thing they are saying is that, oh, the cows are cheaper than the beef meat is cheaper. In the whole of United States of America, they produce millions of cattle every year. Even just go to Texas, millions. They are probably the #1 producer of cattle in the whole of United States. You will not see a single cattle that is roaming on the streets there. You will not see it. All the animals are ranched, and they process more meat than we do. And you will hear our people talk about the fact that they hit 1 million cattle in Lagos. It is about Lagos market. This is why they are into this business. This is why when you blame the Fulani on the one side, you have to look inward at your people that are conniving. Like Mr. Tise was saying, your local chiefs need to rise up. Why are they not rising up? It is because they also own some of these animals. That is where they get the money. Go and look at some of these kings. Like Mr. Amos was saying, it started from cattle grazing in the northern part, and then it proceeded to natural resources exploitation and full-blown terrorism. It is already getting there in the south. Because now when you go to all these other villages where you have illegal mining, go and figure out some of these chiefs, they are in cohorts with the cattle rearers. A lot of the people doesn't know that it is still the same group of people that are actually doing mining, that are into mining business. Okay? So, and these chiefs are also the one enabling them to practice the mining that has become illegal there. So what you describe, Mr. Felix, is already in process to happen in the south.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
let me stop there.
Okay, so before we take more questions, I want to quickly touch on other issue raised by questions or suggestions from our colleagues. Please, other people that are raising up their hand, we are coming back to you as soon as possible. Now, there have been a suggestion about the idea of a local approach. The local approach where they say community is supposed to be able to defend themselves, fight back. I will just use that also to relate with the solution that we have before us. That local approach of people fighting back, organizing themselves, it is not going to solve this problem. That is why we have government. Please let us recognize that. The idea of people, yes, a Gaga community, they've been able to do that, but it's with a very, very big price. When the Fulani came back to attack Igaga, They burned down the palace. The king just narrowly escaped. And they killed a lot of people all through the night. Yeah, we may say it because Buhari was in power that time, but people are still being killed today. At least 3 of us have been killed in Ekiti State since the time that Tinubu came to power. So the local approach is needed, but it's not the total solution. It is just like a sort of complementary effort where vigilante group need to be established across each of the community. Now, the other aspect of it is the idea of, let's look at the law aspect of it first before I move forward into solution. I think Mr. Toba mentioned the issue about ECOWAS treaty. We may begin to look at the law. What is the impact of the law? And I want to tell us this. Even before the establishment of the enactment of the law banning open grazing in Oyo, Ogun, and Ondo, open grazing practice on 2 grounds, it has always been illegal. Number one, I think before around the colonial time, there was a judicial pronouncement declaring it as illegal practice, where the onus was put on the herders to protect and keep their cattle from going to people's farm. That is one. So there is a judicial declaration in Nigeria already. That is a 16. The second part of it is that I was privileged to speak with a lawyer yesterday, and she agreed that you do not have right to encroach into people's assets, particularly with the intention to make economic gain without their consent. And that is what open grazing is all about. So already if somebody can be taken to court that, look, this man invaded my farm with his cattle and started eating crops in my farm, that's stealing. It's a very clear case of stealing. Nobody has that right to do that. But however, why we are advocating for the law that bans open grazing is the fact that it has been tolerated for so long. So at least there is need for a law to make it very clear to those people that have been sort of committed to that act to know that this thing is actually illegal. That is very important. And also having a law will also help prosecution and also help implementation. So that is why the idea. So when we talk about the ECOWAS treaty as well, I was able to read just to scan through some of the provisions in the ECOWAS treaty. It requires even the elders that are moving to a community to get registered. They need to register, they need to have meeting even before they can access a community. That is the provision of the ECOWAS treaty. But however, the treaty is not superior to laws that relate to, what do you call it, human rights, rights to property, rights to life. So there is no law in actual sense that really supports open grazing. And that will now lead us to what people have identified, which is the issue. And that is what Mr. Toba also mentioned, and other people have mentioned that, about the fact that there was an idea of a security outfit in the Southwest, which is Amatekun. Why is it not effective? And it is the same reason why is Nigeria not functional? Why is Nigeria now the nation that harbor the poorest people in the highest number of poor people in the world? So why is Nigeria now one of the most terrorized countries on the surface of Earth? Why is Nigeria now having about 40% inflation rate? And that is where I want us to get to the problem, to get to the root cause and see what is the way forward. How do we approach this? Before I do that, I want to also speak about this idea of also community fighting back. I need to add something to that. You know, what's the name? Mr. Tisi has told us about militias. So this thing may go beyond the ability of any individual community. Let us get it right. This involves coalitions even with terrorists. These are people going about with AK-47. How many communities can buy that type of weapon to protect themselves? And even if you buy that type of weapon, you can be charged by the government, because nobody is even given the right to possess that type of weapon. Even the Amatekun in the state security were not given that right before up to now. So, and if you have it, if a northerner is in power, rather than the herders going to jail, you may be the one that will be going to jail. So the community, we are not trying to say the community are helpless. We are not saying the community cannot do anything, but if we really want a solution, and holistic solution. It goes beyond just the individual effort of the community. Rather, the community should better concentrate their effort in the area where it will yield result. And that is where I want us to sincerely look at. Now, the way forward is that people have talked about the government. Why are they not implementing the law? Why are they not equipping Amatekun? They are used to be security folks. Why are they not funding the Amatekun? I think about 2 years ago, we invited Colonel Olayinka, who was the commandant of Amatekun in Oyo State. We invited him to this project that we want to have a word with him. And he came, he honored our invitation. And the thought that we have, he agreed with it, with his experience in the military. Because then the Buhari regime was not giving enough power to Amatekun in terms of their ability to use certain instruments or equipment, let's use that word, to be able to protect the community. But our own thought is the fact that if we can mobilize our people, if the governors, we can make them, compel them to do what is right, I will come back to that, because that is non-negotiable. If we cannot achieve that, then we are doomed. Then we are doomed. Then we do not even deserve to live. We will come to that if we cannot achieve that. So if the governors can't recruit enough men into Amatekun, even if it is just the pump action gun they have, with the support of the vigilantes and the community now, which we said, because the Amatekun have the legal right in the front as a state security apparatus, and the problem with the federal government, the army, and the military that have been infiltrated is taken out already, because the Amatekun will comprise, will be 99% of people in Amatekun are Yoruba from Oyo State. So if we have enough men on ground and we are sincere, we are not waiting for the attack. We have a number. Benue has tried this. The weakness of Benue, I will speak on that later. If you see somebody carrying cattle anywhere, you call a number in Ibadan, and the Amatekun will be mobilized. If that cattle is not in the ranch, and that is what the law says, then the header and the cattle will be arrested. You are violating the law, and you will be detained. So even we may not get to the point of attacking the community or the people before you actually stop this act from happening. And the most likely reaction that we follow is what we have seen in Benue State, the Benue that tried to enforce the ban on open grazing, where the Fulani now form militias are now attacking Benue from within Benue and also from the the states around Benue, which are primarily Nasarawa. So from Nasarawa, the Benue citizens and farmlands are being attacked, and about 500,000 to 1 million villagers are in IDP in Benue in the last 5 years. In IDP as we are talking now. So when we now presented that to Colonel Olayinka, and he said he agreed that even if they do not have the so-called sophisticated weapon, if they have enough manpower to man Oyo State, with the support of the vigilante, they are going to stop this assault. They are going to protect the community. But also, that must involve the ban on open grazing, because if we don't ban open grazing, there will be these herdsmen in more than 1,000 places in Oyo State, even 10,000 places. Then how do you protect the people when they are in 10,000 places? But if you begin to apprehend them and you do not allow them to be in 10,000 places, the potential point of attack may not be more than 20 or 30, or even if more. And if we do that in Oyo, we do it in Ogun. And that is the weakness of the one that happened in Benue. Benue tried to ban open grazing, but two things are lacking in Benue. Number one, they refuse to set up state security like Amatekun and fund it properly, equip it properly. Number two, Nasarawa does not stop open grazing. Nasarawa does not do anything. The same thing with Ebonyi, the same thing with Plateau, the same thing with Taraba. They are surrounded Benue. So there was enough opportunity. There were enough opportunities for the elders and the militaries that the Fulani have put in place to surround Benue and be attacking Benue from here and there. But however, I will now get to the bottom of the issue now. This is the most serious part. What Benue is supposed to do as a minimum was not done. And the same thing is not done in Yoruba land. And I will now explain now so that Mr. Toba and others, we really understand this. You will realize that in about 3 months ago, they were discussing about state police. And now the thing has died down. So let me tell you, for those people in this call, and we can share this with other people, no governor is interested in state police. No governor was interested in Amatekun. Let us take note of that, because the issue is that to establish state security and fund them is a very, very big project. They need to recruit, they need to train, and they need to arm, to equip. They will need to now maintain their salaries, pensions, offices, and buy cars and other things for them. This is a very, very big project that no governor wants to venture into. They are not in the position, they are not in government to do that. It's not their interest. That is completely against their personal interest. That is completely against their purpose of joining PDP or EPC or whatsoever. And also the cost of funding that, like I've said, although it's difficult, but however, it encroaches onto their aim of coming to politics, which is to become as rich as they can to achievement. But however, if that is not done, our peoples are destroyed. I look at the case of Ondo State. That was even before the death of Akeredolu. Ondo State, Amatekun announced that they want to recruit people into Amatekun. Then the commandant came out and said over 10,000 youths or men in persons have applied to join Amatekun in Ondo State. But the commandant said they only needed about 300 personnel. Then I put my hands on my head. How will 300 men protect Ondo State? But that is what the governors want to fund. That is what, and nobody is sure they even recruited 300. So, but now what is the major problem that we really need to focus on, where we need people, where we need people to reason? Some people are talking about restructuring. Some are talking about Yoruba nation, this and that. Some are talking of different big projects. Whatever anybody believes, no problem about that. But can we look at this that is at the heart of the survival of our people and tackle it? And this is where we tell us the number one problem, which is the greatest problem. The number one problem is the ignorance of our people. It is not, let me give us an example of UK in the advent of democracy. The elite in UK, the nobles, they confronted the king, that the king are the one making the law. The king will decide on how much they are going to pay as a tax in a year. And the king is the one that will sentence people, is the one that will prosecute, is the one that we execute. So they eventually revolted against the king. And that is what gave birth to Magna Carta, and finally that led to the democracy. But one thing that happened in the UK is that when the nobles, when the elite, when they started democracy, two serious things happened in this country. I'm based in the UK now. Number one, women were not allowed to vote. So if you are a woman, you can't vote. Number two, if you are a poor person, you cannot vote. You need to have land mass or income or house rent in London or anywhere before you can vote. And so the people need, the poor masses need to fight. They call some people, they call them a pocket borough. They call another people rotten borough. The pocket borough, they can have delegates that will vote for them. So in a community where you have 10,000 adults, they can say only 100 men should vote for them. Then the rotten borough, they say they are so poor, they are not eligible to vote. So what I'm trying to say is this, and I need to say it for anybody who cares. And Nigeria and our people will be destroyed, except people can come together and challenge evil and come together. We wisely, not by violence, not by act of terror, not foolishly. And I will give us an example now. 2021, Oyo State signed into law the bill that bans open grazing. Ondo State signed it into law. Ogun State signed it into law. Today, nobody is asking about the implementation of the law. There are no 10, 20 groups in Yoruba and say, look, this law has been signed by the governor Makinde. Why is this law not implemented? So that is why I used to say it is not that Nigerian politicians are so corrupt. They are. It's not that Nigerian politicians are so wicked. Yes, they are. But the main issue is that the most serious thing is the ability of our people to organize ourselves, to push for what is right, to push for what is just. We need to lobby. We need to campaign. We need to do, if we need protest, rally, we need to do it. We need to bring stakeholders. One person cannot do this. And the same thing happened to Amatekun. They went to Ibadan and everybody agreed there's going to be Amatekun in the Southwest. But nobody really follow up, forming a group. Because, for instance, now, some states in Yoruba land do not even have 300 Amatekun. And 1 year after they agreed to do Amatekun, some states did not even start Amatekun. So, and the same thing is happening. I want to share this with all for those who care to know that if state police is approved in Nigeria today, the state police you are going to get is going to be maybe as useless as Amatekun in some part of the states of Southwest today. Because the state governor just needed to recruit 500 persons into state police. Who equip them, who arm them, who get them functional. And nobody knows the security force, and nobody care. And that is exactly what affected everything in Nigeria. Everything. And there's why there's no kind of level of corruption in Europe, in America, is because the citizen will not allow it. Because the citizens, they've organized themselves over the years, over decades, and they've been able to challenge those atrocities. That's why there's no massive stealing in Germany, because the German will not allow it. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that the way forward now is how we get organizations, stakeholders to come together. It involves going to court. Your state need to explain why the ban on open grazing is not implemented. And when we are going to do, if a case is going to happen in Ibadan, the farmers will be invited. They will charter buses from all the over 30-something local government or 40 local government in Oyo State. They will come to Ibadan. And that will lead to movement, coalition. And we say, this is not fighting, this is not rioting. This is a law. It's a law for our community. It's a law for the protection of our farmer. And it's a law to save the life of our people and to save the posterity of the Yoruba, as we have explained. Open grazing is going to destroy Yoruba land. Everywhere we turn to desert, it's just a matter of time. And open grazing, and like we have been saying, that as more elite begin to give them cattle, it becomes more difficult to address. But now we can still address it today, because those elites that are giving them cattle, they couldn't stop your state House of Assembly to pass the law. Although there may be an agreement with the governor, okay, we'll just pass the law, we won't implement it. Let's do it to make people happy. But if our people can organize ourselves like the Sivas, like the Seaborg, for instance, we have a demand. Every state should have 5,000 police to protect, 5,000 Amatekun as a starting point. You need to recruit 5,000. A place like Oyo State may need 10,000. And the advocacy will continue, and the governor may say, okay, we don't have the money. Why don't we have the money? This is our life. This is our life of our people. But if I say it, the governor may say, who is that talking? Who is he? Where is he coming from? If you said it, he will say, who is that? Just go away. But if we have 10 organizations, 20 organizations, and we begin, even the religious body, we need to bring them in. Say, no, people are corrupt. Let us get them in. Form a coalition and mobilize our people. There is no other way. There's no other way. We will let our people know that going to the mountain.
Let's take some questions. So many people.
Yes. So let's listen to more questions. I think you can give me the names, please, sister.
Yeah, so you can call them. I'm
okay. Yes,
we don't mind. We have
Jide Adeoye.
People,
but we can start with Adeoye because his hand has been off.
Yes, I think he was before. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your contribution. But I have something to say here. I think Tinubu signed. Tinubu. It took the government to court regarding the local government autonomy. Yeah. Regarding this issue of banditry, herdsmen, open grazing, everything. I think it is better we have security at the local level. Since the local government has been given autonomy, which are the third tier of governments in Nigeria, I believe they should be in charge of our local security, because our security has to be localized. Here it is in the United States here. We have different kinds. I'm staying in Maryland, Salisbury area here. We have local sheriff, which is what we also have. We can also have that in our local government in Nigeria. Then. So we should make sure.
Thank you, Mr. Adeoye. That's a very good suggestion, but we may get to that later. But just to share with you our experience, you need to with the state of things in Nigeria now. They've given autonomy to the local government and all of that. But if you look at the organization of the security apparatus that we really need, yeah, I think the state is in a better position to do that for now. In the meantime, in terms of the fact or in terms of the resources, and when we talk about the security that is local, our states are made up of local governments. So the people that are going to be recruited are also from the local governments. I think where your advice really works very well is to at least localize people into their local government, which is, and that's some of the suggestions we even made, that even Amatekun, if Amatekun want to operate in Ogbomoso, they are supposed to be Ogbomoso vigilante group that we also work with Amatekun, because we need to find a way of, many people are not discussing this now. Even if they want to have the state police, how are you going to make the state police effective for the people so that it is not just an instrument in the hand of the governor? So that kind of check and balance is very important. If the people are localized to their local government in their Amatekun structure, or maybe a regional, maybe a local government commander for Amatekun force in the local government must be an indigene of that local government. That kind of arrangement we have, and we create that localization of the operation in a way that make it more effective and also prevent abuses. So your suggestion is very good, but
Sir,
the greatest priority now is
sir,
how we
sir.
are going to form that coalition. Yeah, let me listen to you.
I think before I left Nigeria, I think I used to stay in Ikorodu, and it's Ikorodu as a whole. Ikorodu local government as VGN. I don't know if anybody stays in Ikorodu in this platform. They had VGN, which is Vigilante Group of Nigeria. I think so. That's the name of that VGN. And these people, they are always in charge of the security in Ikorodu. Even before the police come, VGN is always around to
Yeah.
checkmate it. And who is financing this VGN? It is the local government and the Oba of Ikorodu. They are the one financing them. We can have vigilantes. They have their own gun, but even if it is not an assault rifle, as I mean, the one that is more not AK-47, but they still have a gun.
Yeah.
Checkmate all this. When Bado was reigning in Ikorodu, they were the one who took over all this cultism. They always get involved and now get all these people, boys arrested. So we can always simulate that in all 774 local governments in Nigeria, because this autonomy they gave to them, the money is not for them; it's for the security to make sure our streets are attacked and all that stuff. So they can't just have this money doing that without providing security. So this local government chairman should be the one in charge of
Yeah,
the
so
local
please,
government.
Mr. Adeoye, I will come in again because of the time. You have brought a very good suggestion, but we need to be much more strategic. Getting, like, even in Oyo State, it's too difficult for us even to reach the 40 local government or so in Oyo. And also Ikoyi may have a lot of resources compared to some of the local governments that may not have resources. And the organization level at the local government is also weak. And also we are talking about enacting the law and putting the law in place and also driving prosecution. For instance, it is easy now for us to target 3 or 6 governors in the Southwest and really comfort the state government. So what I will say is that in the nearest future, it may cascade to the level of the local government taking more ownership. But the easiest route for us and the effective way is a state security well-funded Amatekun to start. We should not be waiting for state police. Amatekun can do this job. As you have also alluded to the fact that the vigilante in Ikoyi has done similar job.
But Amotekun is a regional police or like a regional security.
No,
The
it's
regional
state
security.
security. Regional security can come later with the regional struggle succeed. But
Amotekun is approved by
eh?
all the Southwest governors.
Hmm.
All the Southwest governors. I can remember, I think this guy that died, Akeredolu, was the one who really took that thing off his shoulder and fought for because Buhari was not ready to approve that security outfit then. So he was the one who fought for it and we had it. And it was agreed by all the Southwest governors to create Amotekun as a regional security, not for state, though. It was a regional security.
Please, Mr. Adeoye, don't let us wait too much time. The idea was, I'm coming. The idea was just a sort of driven by the Yorubas of the Southwest as a region in a way, but it is not even recognized in the constitution as a region. For instance, now you don't have a commandant for Amatekun for Southwest region. You only have a commandant for Amatekun for Oyo, for Ogun, for Ondo for now. What the only regionalism that we have so far now is a form of collaboration, like working together with some level of understanding. And even there have been cases where Amatekun were mobilized from Ondo to go and assist Ekiti. But you do not have a central regional commandant for Amatekun. So to some extent, we understand all those scope. We just want a situation that we see what is doable, and we work within that scope and achieve something and begin to cascade it down. The most important part of this discussion is how we can mobilize more people, more organizations to come together and join. We have the lobby, the mass mobilization, the negotiation, the campaign, and the litigation to drive. One, there is a law that ban open grazing in Oyo State. Oyo State governor must be compelled to implement that law. Oyo State governor must request the support of also the police in Oyo, because the army has actually spoken in Benue some months ago that they will implement the Benue law that ban open grazing. The only thing that I don't know that is maybe happening to those terrible politicians who are horrible is that if you have 1 million Benue citizens in IDP in a Benue state, why can't the governor recruit 10,000 of them and train them? If he has been training them in the last 3 or 6 months, they will have been at a level now. And let the 10,000 men from the IDP surround Benue boundary with Nasarawa, and with that they will stop the attack. And even if the attack did not stop, if the herdsmen and their military come to attack them, there will be casualty from both sides. And at the end of the day, if you know that you cannot go and kill somebody in Benue and go scot-free, then the killers are going to they are going to withdraw. But rather than the governor looking for money or minimize their wastages, you say you have 10,000, you have 1 million people. Why do you want to die? If you take 10,000 of them that are young men, you equip them. By the time they provide security, over 900,000 will go back to their villages and start farming, and that we have food for Nigeria, and that we have economy for the state. But no politician want to do that. No governor want to invest 10 billion naira into that. And if our people cannot rise up to come together to pursue that as a cause and get other stakeholders, say this thing is a tragedy. You can't be taking your cattle to another person's farm. It is not economic. And also, I need to say this, I've not mentioned it before, the economic aspect of it. If you a Fulani, if you are selling your cattle for 1 million naira before, if you need to do ranch now in Sokoto or Zamfara or in Kebbi or anywhere, you need to get the land, you need to plant grass, you need to drill borehole or any kind of where you can get water to water the farmland. Then you need to buy grass where you cannot get grass planted by yourself, or to supplement the one you have in your area, in your field that you are using. Then you now need to transport your cattle, mature cattle, to the south if you want to sell your cattle in the south. All this cost money. But the suggestion is add that money to the cost of your cattle. If your cattle is 1 million naira before, if it take you 200,000 to feed the cattle like that and to support your ranch, make it 1,200,000 naira in Ibadan or in Lagos. Anybody that want to buy cattle should buy cattle for 1,200,000 naira. If you want to eat beef, that is more beneficiary to us in Yoruba land than our posterity destroyed. And every time, any day you allow open grazing to continue, a farmer has been sentenced to death. And the devastation on our vegetation is unbelievable. So how we go to drive this argument? But like I said, we must have something that is manageable. We must be presenting a cause that we know people can reason along with. And one of it is that Oyo State has all the power to stop. And there is a law that does it. And Makinde refused to implement that law. And Oyo State has everything to get 10,000 men into Amatekun to implement this. And the benefit of that is that our agricultural productivity is going to jack up. We can use Igaga as a case study. Igaga has changed. Everything has changed in Igaga. We have some of our colleagues from Igaga. People that have abandoned their farm in the last 2 years, they've gone back to their farm and they can see the difference. If we do that in all like Okiogun, Saki, Warrior, that thing, food price will come down and our economy will be able to revive. And it is far more than that. We will be able to stop the spread of zoonotic tuberculosis. We'll be able to stop the infiltration of our community by terrorists. We'll be able to stop the desertification and deforestation, because they even set these Akintolas on fire. When they burn them with fire, they wait for them the sprouts to come out. When the rain falls, they will now begin to graze in those areas. And if you ask somebody that has knowledge of agriculture and science, soil science, they will tell you the damage you do to a land when you set it on fire. When you burn a land, that land cannot recover in 100 years. But thank you, Mr. Adioye. Please, let's listen to Mr. Bashorun.
Good evening, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Felix. I listened to you, but I also want to, go along with Mr. Adeoye in terms of the autonomy of the local government. I'm from Okyogun, part of Oyo State. And currently, I can tell you that majority Amatekun are domesticalized to the local government in Oyo State, especially in Okyogun. Because, and I do believe that the local government autonomy is a good thing for us if we utilize it. You see, everything you're talking about, this security, you also need the political will to do it. And this is why it is very important that we take this local government autonomy very seriously. Because when you're talking about the law in your state, you need the political will to implement the law. And that is why, with the local government autonomy, each local government, because the problem at Okyogun is different from the problem at Ibadan. So even when you have a regional Amotekun or state Amotekun, you still have to go down to the local level because they understand what is their need and they know the people that are living in the area. So I believe that what we need with all these good ideas and plan and program is also politicians that are ready to walk the talk. So the local government election that will come in 2027 or whenever INEC is ready with this autonomy, we must make sure that you see, for me, I've always said this, that on this earth, after the power of God, the next power is political power. To control your economy, to control security, you also need that political power. So you cannot neglect politics if you want to achieve anything. Kano, is it Kano or Kaduna that has Sharia or Isba? They have shown us. The State of Assembly passed the law, Isba empower, they do anything and they go away with it. So also, each local government can pass the bylaw again and say, in our community, but you need people that has that mindset to be elected into the councillor and chairman. So for me, with all things you've said, the next thing we need is to make sure that when in fact, that everyone in Nigeria today that is here or that we talk to people, we need to start attending political meetings of the two major parties. To me, I don't think it's a matter of forming a new party. We can take the APC and PDP. Trump didn't form any party. He joined Republican. He changed the party. We can do the same.
Okay, so all right, sir,
I'm coming. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. So that when the election comes, you elect conservative into the position of councillorship with the mindset that these are the bylaws, these are the things we would do in our community. Even in Okyogun, what Ikango is facing is even what Shaki is facing, is even what Kishi is going through, is even what I was going through. So when you domesticate this security apparatus, either Amotekun, which is a nice thing, then you empower them with the law. Because once the law is passed, even in your local government, the police will have to follow that law. But you need the political will, which is another thing I think we need to start talking to our youth about. That when the election is coming, number one, starting from voters registration to making sure that the right people are selected for the councillor and we vote for them en masse. Then we can do all of this. But right now, you said it. Seyi Makinde is not having the political will to implement it because you need the political will. So, but when we bring it to the local level, it is done.
You've really tried, and I appreciate you. I will start from the idea of political will. I mentioned something before that I wish, I don't know whether you were around that time. I gave an example of the process that led to democracy. And I did mention that the generation of the elite and the nobles that fought the king and brought in democracy, they did not allow women to vote. They didn't allow women to vote when they started the democracy for years, if not for decades. The same thing, poor people were not allowed to vote. So as we are here, and I can guarantee you, maybe we are 75 or 69, or maybe we are 75 or 76. Our opinion about this topic now, today, is, let's say, let's ban open grazing. Let's get the state, let everybody fund let them fund Amatekun. let the government be transparent. All of that positive. If 76 of us, if we were all given appointment now to join Tinubu or to join Makinde, if the opinion is, if they revisit it again in 1 week or 2 weeks time or 3 months time, it will be difficult to get just 5 of us to continue to say what we are saying and to stand on what we stood on. I can guarantee you that. You over 90% would have changed. So we need to understand the principle on how to build community, how to build nation, how to build justice. So, for instance, I agree totally with you about people going to political party and elect the right person, elect an honest person, but that does not guarantee anything. It is helpful to look at people's character, to support people and say, this is what we want, form organization, pursue people. But your best friend and the most honest person you ever knew, if you become the governor today or you become the local government chairman today, it's a different ball game. And that's why people will even tell you, say, look at Tinubu campaigned against and protested against just an increase in fuel price by just 10%. But now Tinubu did 300% increase in fuel price when he became president. So it is as simple as that. I don't say it's because they are no. Let's understand. That is why this thing is not like a spiritual thing that we are trying to use religious something. I believe in God. I pray. I understand. I'm not condemning religion. But what I'm saying, let's understand that principle. So when you now come to the way forward that we need to look at is, first and foremost, the idea of using local government. There's nothing wrong in encouraging. In fact, this thing requires mobilization, and we need mobilization in the grassroots. But that's why I'm saying that if we have a court case in Ibadan on open grazing, I expect we need to mobilize so that people will come from the villages all across Oyo State, the farmers, where people need to subsidize their transportation and come with their placards to Ibadan. And they say, these people are killing us. We want our land protected. But the easiest avenue for us to pursue this cause without complicating issue too much and without creating a lot of bureaucracy is let the governor announce the ban on open grazing and instruct Amatekun. Amatekun is all over the state. And if the order comes from the governor based on the law, not using his own personal power, is the law of the state. Don't forget the people that pass the law, the House of Assembly member representing each of the local governments of the state. So if the Amateku is mobilized, then the owners will go to Igagan, we go to Okeogun, we go to Ogbomoso and Oyo and Saki to say, look, what ti ban open grazing ní Igagan. And governor there, Tineka Amateku, kill Amateku one say, Malu can one loan Jakumbi by who is the owner of this Malu should be arrested. Then we will call the right number. Then people in the local government will begin to drive it in each of their local government. Then the local government chairman will also be engaged because local government chairman may also want to buy cattle and give it to Fulani. And people need to confront him right in the local government. So I don't want us to make this thing unnecessary, cumbersome in a way that we cannot achieve anything. Although I'm coming. We are
Hold
getting
on. Can I?
and
Let me
I need to
just.
talk on this. Is very important. This is very important. I want to address the issue of political will. I want to address the issue of political will. Please, that is very, very important. We need to understand the concept of democracy, what led to democracy, and what democracy is all about. It is the government of the people, for the people and by the people. That's why politicians need to come to you for you to vote for them to get into power. We may continue to say, no, hey, you can't challenge them, you can't do anything. Then the people are destroyed. And the word of God even says, because of lack of knowledge, my people perish. If we really organize, it is not, I'm not interested in political will of Makinde. This is the desire of the people of Oyo State. This is the desire of people of Ogun State. And we want it to be implemented. And the governor may say, and we say, if you cannot implement it, you have to resign. And we say, that can never happen in Nigeria. I don't talk like that. Then Nigerians are doomed. Because I want to sell in Europe, they started from somewhere. And their own cases were much more difficult. Much like now you have a appeal court. Now you have a woman right. Now you have lawyer that can stand for you. When the struggle for democracy began in Britain, in England, you don't have a lawyer, you don't have an advocate. And if the king is saying you are challenging him, he command immediately go and execute him. And the person is executed. Thousands of people were executed that way. And they continued their struggle until they got their freedom. So, and this thing is very simple. Even all the religious leaders we are talking about, we can carry them along. over time. But this is what we are saying. This is a sin. It's a crime against humanity. We are not fighting anybody. If the governor cannot implement the ban of open grazing, he should leave. He has to resign. We own the state. It's not his property. We gave him the mandate on our own. If we
I
do
can't
not
hear him.
do
There
it,
you go.
and we can do it. We have all the look. If we order the Buhari regime, look at the NSAS. Some people may think that NSAS is a failure, and there may be a lot of controversy around NSAS. But you know, when the protests began, the government announced that they are ending NSAS. They announced that they are ending, even when it will not be well organized, when the elite may not be in full support. Yet the government of such a man, with all the bandits and everything they are sponsoring here and there, they agreed that they are going to abolish SARS. And you may say, oh, well, have they stopped the police brutality? No, that is a step. We only need to continue. You only need to keep on pushing the boundary. When the women will be allowed to vote in UK, they say, okay, you need to be 30 years old. And they started voting. They say, why is it be 30? Why can't we vote at 18 that men are also voting? So they need to continue the struggle. So what I'm telling you now, the greatest strategy today is that there are no coordinated movement of Yorubas that are saying, how can we have a law in Ogun State signed by Abiodun in 2021 and nobody is implementing it? Why is it not being implemented? Why is it not being implemented? If you say it, I say it, another person say it, and it's okay, let's meet in Abeokuta. Let's go to one town hall and go and discuss. Let's go. Let's call this person. And we say, this is the people that are being killed. This is the law we want. So that is what we need. We must not say political. I understand the issue of political will. That is why we are here. We are here to destroy that kind of evil practice where we say, this is the right thing to do. I don't have political will to do it because of their selfish interest. So let's listen to other people. Thank you, Mr. Bashon. We need more of you. And we have...
I
we
wanted
listened
to
to
say,
Mr. Who is the...
I mean, I wanted to
Okay, please go ahead.
forces. Whoever is interested in joining forces, they can message TYF. You know, if you're interested in taking action, you know, there are multiple approaches. If
Um,
you believe politically changing the people in the office, that's one approach. The approach that Mr. Felix is talking about is a different one, which is in, take the fight to them. Lot of worry, please give me 1 minute. Let me wrap up my thoughts. So that is another approach. If you want to join this approach, you message TYF Andrew. If you have especially if you have an organization, send your message to TYF Andrew. We take it from there. Let's go to Lot of Worry.
Yeah, and
yeah,
Agbaunla,
I just want to add
you
few
come back again.
things.
Sorry.
I just want to add few things. I won't take long. So I've been hearing about
Okay.
this for more than 2 years. I think it's enough, actually. And if you are waiting for politicians to actually, sorry about the background noise, if you are waiting for politicians to actually help, they will not help. If you are calling on them, waiting on them to come, please do this, please implement this, it won't work. It will never work. Let me tell you now. We called on the federal government on May 22 when they just first attacked one of our villages, killed 50 people. We called on them, they didn't come. They killed people until 1998 before we took our weapons and retaliated. We fought with Ijo till 2003. Now, the government tried to make sure that there was peace. Now, the government, notice now that the government did not do anything. The government did not come until we start to retaliate. The government started telling us to drop our arms. They did not come when they were killing our people. So, if you are waiting for the government to come when they are killing your people, they will not show up. If you don't take yourselves, gather yourselves and protect yourselves, it will never happen. The Northerners tried something in Koko, in Warri North. They tried, it was between a bike man, they stabbed and a Shekiri, stuff like that. And they started running into the town like mad people and we used guns to chase them away. All of them ran out of the town that afternoon. We used guns to chase all of them away because
we are not waiting for them to kill another person or attack another person before we take action. This is the reason why you will not hear that maybe open grazing or those people carrying cow came to one Ishekiri area or maybe an Ejo area, shot someone dead, and you think they will leave. No, they all of them we take one bullet each before they leave. That is the reason. I'm not calling for a full-scale war against the entire innocent. You know, they are not all the northerners are bad. They are innocent ones. So I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that
So,
those
Lord of Worry,
that I'm coming.
hello,
I'm going
hello.
to finish. Just hold on. I'm saying those that carried out this attack and you are waiting for your government to. They will not. Every single they are politicians. They are called politicians for a reason. They are fighting for themselves. They are fighting for their national face. They will not want to anger their friends in the north. They will not do it.
Please,
Only
let's 2
when
minutes,
you
please.
take up yourselves and protect yourselves, that's what will bring an end to the attack.
Hello,
Why are
hello,
the people
hello,
in middle
hello.
belt?
Please.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to finish. Why are the people in middle belts not actually getting help from the federal government? They've been shouting for government to come. Government have not. I entered their space one day and I told them that if nobody is learning from Warri crisis and what the Shekiri passed through in Warri crisis, you will not. No government will come for help. No government will help you for anything. Protect yourself. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, please, I just want to interrupt. I apology for that. There are levels of interventions to solve problem. Okay, we are looking at a systemic solution that ensure lasting solution. You are from maybe Sekiri in Delta State. I can guarantee you a lot of people have been killed in Sapele, in Ugeli, and even in the northern part of Delta State through these activities. We are not discouraging communities from protecting themselves. Igaga has demonstrated that, and they are still doing that. But those are just individual complementary efforts that are needed. We've discussed that. So don't let us be dragging back because we don't just want to be debating. So if somebody want to attack you and you have everything to protect yourself, you should. Community have to defend themselves. But we are not pursuing that cause. Every community can just be advised. Look at how, that's why we encourage vigilantes. And it's part of the proposals. We encourage it. So it will be unfortunate for any community not to have their own vigilante now. But however, what is going to stop this tragedy? What is going to address the root cause? And the idea that no government is going to come to your aid, we own the government. We are the government. You say, no, that is in America, that is in Britain, that is in Disney. That is not true. If we do like that, then our generation can be destroyed. You need government. You can't do it alone. And we are the government. And if we are a nation that we cannot compel our government at the lowest level, like state and local government, to act in accordance to our expectations and will, then the people are dead. The people are just in slave camp, just ready to be destroyed. In fact, you don't deserve to be alive. If a Moses can stand up in a foreign land in Egypt, and the same Pharaoh let my people go, look at that generation. Maybe some people may not believe that, but some of us believe that, and that is what we need. That is what we need. If a Daniel can stand in Babylon, say, this is where I stand. If a Nehemiah can go to Jerusalem and say, this atrocity is enough. So that is, we are solving problem. For instance, if you organize some people in your community and they get one thing or the other to fight for themselves, before you even know it, they get divided into two, they start fighting themselves also. And you have issues in the community, here and there. And some people may get the weapon and begin to do robbery. So we are talking about lasting solution, enduring solution. Why we still tell community, organize vigilante, protect yourself. And that will be part of this kind of campaign. Because we are telling the people it's illegal for anybody to bring cattle to your farm. And this is the way to go about it. Don't just go and be fighting blindly. Because fighting blindly, you can end up destroying yourself. You can also even be arrested by the government themselves. So, but we thank you for your suggestion. So, but we need to make it clear because some of these things may be documented. What we are saying is how to use instrument of state to protect our people and to do justice. And we have seen 3 states that have passed the law, and we are saying how do we come together? And I don't want to hear the idea that we can't do it. It is just it diminishes us as if we are not human. If we say and Abiodun is so powerful in Ogun State that a law to protect farmers, Abiodun has all the ability and the authority not to implement it. And you say the people in Ogun State who are supposed to be human beings, not animals, not non-entities, not dead working corpse, cannot join themselves together and say, let's be in Abeokuta and let's go and meet Abiodun.
Abiodun was
And we
getting
can
elected by the same people. They continue to vote for
by
him.
the same people. And Sister Buki, there was no placard and say where is the enforcement, because you can see there is no consciousness even
Let
our
me
people.
also say
Because for
something
instance now,
about
in Nigeria, they didn't implement it.
Sorry, let me say something about your state with the Amotekun. You know, like you said, the government, because we need to be frank with ourselves. When we are talking about Amotekun, a lot of our people, with the community, Amotekun is very popular in the community. The people actually trust Amotekun more than the police. Okay? But this is the thing. Amotekun is not free. Amotekun is not free. If you are going to go and tell Amotekun now to come to your farm, you are going to pay them. I don't think people even realize that. You will have to pay Amotekun to get gas and everything, to get Amotekun to your place. And
Even the police now, if
uh-huh.
you go to
So
police station in
why
Nigeria,
is that
you need to
happening?
fuel their
Why
car.
is that happening in a society that is normal? And let me burst your bubble. In Ido local government, Ido, I have a farm in Ido. If you go there, you will think you are in Sokoto. The amount of cattle that is there. You cannot plant anything there if you're a serious farmer. You are just going to waste your money. And a lot of the people that are in that farming community, they don't have any choice. They keep fighting whenever they can fight. They will negotiate with the Fulani today, and another one will eat their crop tomorrow. Some of these Fulani that are there, even in my farm, we give them notice to leave. They refuse to leave. They are telling us that they will be working on the farm. They know it's our land. They will be working. We should give them the contract to be working there. So, and it almost goes into a confrontation to the point that, this is why I know the limitation of Amotekun. It's not like Amotekun did not want to come and help, but I'm not going to be spilling everything on the internet. They show intention to come and everything. But it is capital. There is some money that is attached to using that assistance. And even if you do, it is not guaranteed. Because honestly speaking, it's like you are inviting them to come to death. The people are just so enormous. There are too many of them that you cannot get rid of them, except with a very strong power of the government and affirmative action to remove them from the land. Otherwise, it will be a killing spree. So we need to understand that. I understand what you're saying in terms of you don't want to send a signal that you are telling people to go and be fighting these people to leave their farmland, because that would defeat the purpose. And we saw what happened in Igaga when the people tried to fight back. The people doesn't even have what it takes to fight back. And these people, they are much more bully than the local people there. And we see what happened. The casualty was immense on the part of the Yoruba people. And it cascaded into so many other things that we don't want to repeat here today. So you're right when you are saying all of these things, but we need to I also strongly believe that where the power lies is in the hands of those governors. And they are not using that power because of reasons that are not best known to us. We can assume that it is for their political interest, which probably that's why, or maybe it's for their personal interest as well. That is where I was going to in pushing the elite narrative. Maybe some of them also own some of these cattle as well. Because don't forget, they said about 110 cattle or 20 cattle will give them 1 billion per year. That is why the farmers are getting killed. The money, follow the money. It's a lot of money that is involved. So let me just stop there so we've spent 2 hours and I didn't want to spend
Take
more
more
than 2
people.
hours. We're going to spend half an hour more, and then we will go. Um,
Let's listen to, I think, Agbaunla.
yeah,
Please, let's know people
yeah.
that are
The
just
people that
raising
have
up
not
their hands.
spoken. Triple H, I believe, spoke
Have we
before.
listened to Mr. Kayode? We've listened to him or
I
not?
don't know who is Mr.
So that we
Is-
know. Let's
You haven't
please, if you have
listened to
spoken,
me. You have not. You've not.
bring
You've not
down your
listened to me.
hand.
Oh, okay, Mr. Kayode, you
You've
can
not listened
go.
to me. Can
Take
I?
a couple of minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So after Mr.
Yeah. Thank
Kayode, Mr. Agbaunla, I think Agbaunla is just fair. Let me see. Okay, let's go ahead with Mr. Kayode at least to start with.
Okay. Thank you
And
very
we
much.
get other people.
Thank you, Buffett. You are doing a very fantastic job when it comes to pushing the heritage of Yoruba. And Mr. Felix, you've made very salient and valid points. I just want to buttress some of them and just add a little flesh to it. And when you talk on 2 points, the first one is forming that coalition. The coalition is actually very important because if you go back in history, these are the things that our forefathers did. Awolowo did his own. After Awolowo, there was Nandeko and all those kind of stuff. So one way or the other, we need a coalition that would be, flesh of the people. They will be, putting out the narrative of what the people want. There are sometimes that when our leaders, I mean our political leaders, when they know that nobody is going to ask them questions, they tend to do what they like. Although me, I'm not in support of speaking against the government because as a loyal citizen, a patriotic citizen, you just have to be that abiding. But at the same time, we need to, have a kind of coalition that will be speaking the feels of the people, so that the governor will know that if I don't do what these people want, I might not get re-elected by the next election. I might be impeached because they have support base that are localized. And
Oh, hope we've not lost Mr. Kayode voice.
Yeah, I think we lost him. We lost him.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, he's back.
Can you hear me? Okay, so like I was saying, I'm trying to speak more on the coalition. That's what our forefathers did in the past. Nadeko, when Afenifere was Afenifere, the Agbekoyas and co. So we can engineer that and make it more modernized, more youthful and more localized, so that it cuts across board. Let me take Oyo State for instance. I'm from Oyo State. I'm also a farmer. I have farms in Okiogun. I have in Ibarapa. Presently, I'm in Isenyi as we speak. And I know that we have lots of people that are doing this same business that are actually, learned like me. But at the same time, we need to be protected. There are sometimes, although I've not had the incidents of, Fulani attacking my farm, mainly because I employ some of them in my workspace so that, that's a form of protection for, my produce. So let us look at how we can make this work by ensuring that we form a coalition that is going to be localized, and that can be a weapon that people can be using to, negotiate, dialogue, lobby the government in power.
We lost
Okay,
we
I think
lost him
it's
again, but I think he made his point. One quick
yeah.
thing
So
I wanted to add with Ido local government, from a reliable source, the farmers, they have got to the point that they no longer go and report the people, the Fulani cattle herders that are grazing on their this thing in their farm. They don't go to the police anymore because the police told some of them that there is nothing that they can do to these people. Okay, so just to put it out there, the police told them that there is no point coming because
Can I
as soon as
can you
they
hear
are
me?
arrested, we lost you for a moment there. We lost you.
Okay, can
That
I
is
just
why.
quickly make the second point?
Yeah, let me finish. So I
Okay,
want
so my
to let me finish, please, because I was in the middle of something. So
okay.
finally, I wanted to say that why some people might think that the people are not fighting back, the people are trying to fight back, but guess what? There is nobody else, nowhere else to go because they feel powerless. So you can finish your thoughts, Mr. Kayode.
Okay, thank you very much. So the other thing is talking about how there are sometimes that some people have spoken here that the Amotekun outfit that we have are not being properly funded, and the hands of the governors are tied because it requires a lot of funding, and it is true, practically yes. And what we are supposed to do as citizens too, or as indigenes too, is to find a way of supporting the government in that regard. We can form a security trust fund whereby people that have vested interest in all those occasions can be contributing a little. It can be in form of bond, security bond. It can be in form of contribution. That can be looked into. That is even after the coalition has been formed. This is something that the coalition can supervise so that we ensure that it's not being misappropriated by the people in power. So those are the things that I want to say. Thank you very much. I raise the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Kayode. I think Banla is no longer in the. I can't see him again. So, please, Mr. Kayode. Okay, the one that just spoken. So, do we have any other hands up that want to say something we've not had before?
I think they exhausted
up.
everybody. Okay, somebody just raised
Okay,
up their hand.
Rahima.
Good evening, everybody. Or good afternoon, morning. What I wanted to say is that I was on Charlie Boy's page the other day, and I saw that one of the headers, he's actually a popular header that makes videos, I think TikTok videos. He said that in some of these villages, they actually pay the village heads for the crops that their cows are going to eat. And the village heads collect money.
Yeah.
Untouchable. And then also in the last administration, if we are going to be very, very honest, when they say all citizens are equal, but some citizens are more equal than others, it really, really applied last administration. I'm just hoping that it is different this time, because my crops have been destroyed by cows before. This is not in a village. This is in Abuja. We planted moringa, corn, just stuff that we can. And they brought out knife to chase the boy that is in charge of the place. And I was watching this thing. So it's not like they told me. They brought out knife. They feel untouchable. As in, they'll be doing these things. They will even be laughing while they are doing, while they will bring out the knife, chase you away from you. They've eaten my flowers before. They didn't even eat it. They just scattered it with their leg and ate the grass around it. Flowers that is in the shape of letters, wrote letters and everything on his side. They scattered everything. That cost a lot of money. I'm sure you know how much writing letters with plants is. They all back so single, and they feel untouchable. When you tell them off, go take that thing away, they will even slow down. They will look at you, eye you up and down. I wish you could even see me as, and they will eye you up and down. So this thing is something else.
And thank God you didn't have much altercation with them, because it doesn't take more than that before somebody is
they are looking for who to kill. And that's the fact. We don't need to even sugarcoat it. The thing is this: they feel untouchable, and they are plenty. If you go and kill one, another one will come and revenge or forgive. 100 years from now, the thing is, they need and most of the cows are owned by elites, and that is the truth.
They are elite in particular. The percentage owned by our own Yoruba people or non-Fulani is very, very small. But however, like what you said about one of them coming out and say that they pay the traditional rulers to stay for 2 or more weeks or more in the villages. The one it all about in Penle, and these people too, they are getting wiser and wiser. Like I said, now if they really want to get at us seriously, one strategy they can really deploy now is to get a bait and bring in more and more of our elite into this business in such a way that they get entrenched, and it will be very difficult for us to change the practice. And this is the any community that allowed them to stay like that for decades, that community is going to fall. That community is going to fall. If, like in Yoruba land, there will be no land for farmers to farm again, and your people will die away out of hunger and they will be the one that will remain.
Massacre.
And those Obas, they will kill them eventually.
See what caused the massacre in Oyo? This, I think, was it 2 years ago? What caused it? Because of this thing. Cows they were complaining, telling federal government, call letter, they sent delegates, they went to Abuja. There's nothing they didn't do. When they couldn't take it anymore, they started attacking. Ati Hausa to mo npa e o, ati Fulani ti o mo npa e o, they started killing. And that is what is going to happen. It will get into conflict. And it only Tony. There are people that
now
if we can sorry, please let me finish. They are crossing into neighboring Benin Republic, called major refugees because Fulani feed the cows one. No, we need to. This is not Buhari's era again. We cannot have this. And it over rare cows, especially in Abuja city. And it over more Abuja. In Abuja, cows are sharing road, express road, with drivers, with cars. Wike is the one that is cracking down on it. And he wants a video don't threaten Wike. You will see cows passing where Wike lives. Cows, big cows.
So thank you, areas. You know, I said I would not be able to stay on this space. Oh my goodness. I have to go.
Okay.
So we have to end the space. Unfortunately, we will bring Mr. Amos back. I promise. If anybody wants to join the coalition, because I believe that some legal actions are going to be started very soon. And if you want to be part of it and be really productive, apart from this session is part of mobilization and bringing the issue to the public space. We will have more of it with evidence. And thank you all of you that posted videos of a lot of this event. Please, if you have more videos, more accounts or your state, all of these are needed as evidence.
I posted some that I have on the Jumbotron. A lot.
Yes.
Please.
So send to us. Location is important. If you have contact of victims, we will also need
many victims.
Okay, please follow.
Please, we need
follow
your
the
help.
TYF
We need your help, please.
Follow Mr. Amos, and we'll reach out to you. So if anybody, if you have an organization that has interest in this case, please send messages to us, because like I said, there's going to be some legal actions that are coming up. We need as many people as possible.
In fact, I know someone that took a bank loan. What they bag go family till today, no compensation.
Because we really need
we need those people. So, Mr. Amos, I'm sorry, I will have to end this space. I have an appointment, and
we really need
they're already calling me
to all the people on the call. They've really been very good, listening, contributed to the discussion. So we appreciate you, and we pray that God will bless you.
Robodo and Chibue, please send your questions to the email back channel. We'll get answers to you, okay? Thank you, everybody, for coming.
I don't know why I couldn't access.
Yes, ma'am.
Go on, Mr. Felix, thanks so much.
So I'm expecting contact in you. We need more people, and we are going to see how we work together and also bring all our people on board. We have another WhatsApp group where we've got a lot of people in the group as well.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon and good evening wherever you are. Odabo.
Yeah, thank you all. Thanks. Bye.